How do you manage so many people without micromanaging?
There's a little bit of both. It's really hard, dude. It's really hard. I feel like you have to micromanage. Like some people you don't have to, right? But there's a balance to it. You don't want to overdo it. I feel like I'm always learning. I'm like, that's the number one thing that helped me grow is like, there's always something more to learn.
There's a lot that's just kind of almost like prep and planning, almost more so than like doing the actual work sometimes.
Yeah.
And because it's like when you're at leadership level, you're not the one swinging the hammer, but you're the one making sure that the person swinging the hammer has what they need.
Every day I wake up, I don't feel like I'm at work because I get up and I'm like, I got to go connect with my crews. I got to go check if the product's, getting done correctly.
How you guys care about the vision the right way.
Honestly, like, with
We all get the same 24 hours. So why is it that some people build so much more with them? I'm Brian Coons, and this is the Builder Nation podcast, where we talk to top performers, entrepreneurs, and visionaries to uncover the architecture of a meaningful and fulfilling life. Let's get into it.
Right now, we actually are currently getting a design build for an up and running.
No way.
I'm realizing that there's such like a gap of there's designers and there's builders, but there's very few people that are actually fucking developers. So.
I noticed that because I'm like obviously a builder, but I'm just like, I notice like when I go have an architect come walk with me, like there's just like different visions.
Mm-hmm.
There's different, everyone's thinking about something different.
Yep.
And so like I noticed, like I was like, what if we just like start from the beginning, start from the top and have it finished to the end, like a design build firm, right?
Yep.
Like it's just it all ties into each other because then like there's so much back and forth. Sometimes there's construction changes where you could have avoided a construction change.
Yep.
Right. And so like I was just like, why didn't we just talk about this? Why didn't we just get it all together, get it all in one?
Yeah. You come in day one and you're like, hey, like we're going to need this. It's going to cost this. We got to make sure we use these types of materials, stuff like that. So I think, you having the experience of 1,500 projects is super invaluable.
Yeah. I started back. So like, I'll go way back, dude. Like I'm from Northern California. I'm not from like the Southern California. I came down here like just with a vision. I was in college. I went to Chico State, and I came down here. Spring break, you come down and you're just like, oh, like come party out here. It's so beautiful. Like the beaches, the weather. I was like, I want to live out here someday. So I moved down here, and at first I didn't know what I wanted to do. I guess I'll scale back a little bit. When I was in college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was like, I just know I want to be involved with like building or with my hands, but I didn't know. My brother and I, he's really close with me. He's a year younger than me. And he was like, oh, like, we'll build something together one day. We really want to get into real estate, but we didn't know what we wanted to do. We were just like dabbling up ideas like, we're going to do renovations someday, or we're going to purchase properties and have a big asset portfolio. We had no plan, but we had the idea, right? And so time went by, I started studying. I actually went to college for entrepreneurship. I had no idea like what that even was when I was in there, because my grandparents owned a restaurant, but he didn't have the college education, but he started a restaurant. I'm like, do I really need a college education for a bit like entrepreneurship to start a business? And when I went to the whole first year, I was like, dude, like I didn't learn a thing, like nothing, like in entrepreneurship. Like it was just like textbook stuff, like you take tests. It was very basic. I was like, I want to learn something different. So that summer I really put some thought into what I wanted to do. And I ended up going to work for my uncle in construction. I went to go work concrete. So I was pouring concrete, doing that for a while. And I was just like, shit, dude, this is some hard breakback stuff. But he was doing well in life. He was doing well. One of my uncles that was doing well. So I was like, maybe I want to get into constructions. And he started talking me into it. So I got into construction. I changed my major from entrepreneurship to construction, and stuck with it for 4.5 years, because I did my first year in entrepreneurship to try to get as fast as I could. And after that, I got my construction bachelor's science degree in construction management. And it was during COVID time, and I was looking for a job. But I realized when I was doing internships, I was like, I don't know if I wanted to do construction, because I did internships for an underground mainline company, and I did tenant improvement in San Francisco. So I lived in the Bay for a little bit. And so when I was doing that, I was just like, damn, these people are like burning out, like not happy in their life. There was project managers. I started project engineer, but I saw project managers just burnt in their eyes. You can have a conversation where you can see their eyes just like they weren't happy. I was like, what do I want to do? And I told my high school counselor, I was talking to her, just very small community from the town I'm from, and everyone knows each other. And so when I talked to her, I was like, I want to get into real estate in construction. And she's like, I know a guy. And I was like, and then she's like, let me connect you with him. And so I was like, okay. So she connected me with Phil Green from IBISD. And so she was actually best friends with his wife, because she's in the school board of education. And so they were connected. And so I flew out here, I interviewed with him, everything went well. Started as a project coordinator, but they started me at the bottom, just doing punch lists for everything, just punch. And so I started with that. This was 5.5 years ago now. And I was still in college. They accepted me part-time. I was super fortunate to take on that opportunity when I was still in college. I was like reading plans, taking exams, taking finals, and like going out doing punch lists at the end of the day, you know? And so I was doing that. And just time went by, and I did that for a while, and they actually were able to promote me to a junior project manager once there was room for that, and I got 2 years of experience in there and got my own projects, doing my own projects. And after doing so many projects and growing with them, learning design, they had designers come in-house and train us to, you have to have that vision, you know, you have to have that eye when you have a finished product, and you know that, like when you want a finished product, you want the client to be happy. You know, and all these products that we're putting out, we wanted to make sure that we captured the right clientele, because not every market is not the same, right? And there's ups and downs. And so when we were it didn't matter. Sometimes back in 2020, it didn't matter what you put out, it would sell. But nowadays it really matters. And Phil saw that, you know, like the trajectory of the market. And so he really painted that in my head, and I had to capture all that. And that's what helped me grow. You know, I was capturing the vision that he had and the vision where the market was going. And so whenever I really cared about what I was putting out as a project manager, and I really love the job that I have today. So that's kind of what got me to where I'm at. And so I went from a project coordinator to junior project manager to project manager to the senior project manager for them. And I was running their whole team of 13 people. And just honestly capturing the vision of what people want, putting out the product, taking care of punch lists, even the little things, right? The detailed stuff, the baseboards, like every little thing matters when you're putting out a product or when you're giving a product to your client when you're finished with the project, right? And so I think like at the end of the day, like what makes you successful, or what made me successful in mine is honestly enjoying what I do. And what I do is construction and managing people, managing projects, and just being happy with the product. I was really enjoying, you know, making one project and turning it into something that, you know, brought it to life where someone can live, or just putting that product out. That's really what made me happy, like excited, you know, to kind of excel in life. And so I feel like at the end of the day, just like honestly just doing what you love. I know it sounds generic, but like every day I wake up, I don't feel like I'm at work. And it's just, I don't feel like I'm at work because I get up and I'm like, I got to go connect with my crews. I got to go check if the product's, you know, getting done correctly. That's the most important word, correctly. I want to correct these guys, make sure. And, you know, everyone acts like they know it all, but like you have to make sure this, you know, it sounds silly, but like put gravel under the freaking concrete, you know, like make sure the studs are properly spaced out. Like these things matter over time. Like, you know, someone's going to hang a TV over here one day, you know, like you got to think ahead. Right. And so that's kind of what goes in my head. I wake up, I'm working 10 hours a day, sometimes 5 to 8. Like I care about what I do, what I put out.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, man. That's really good information. So, I remember, like, when you're talking about the product, right, I think that in a lot of spaces, people just think about almost like the feature of, like, a software. It's like, what is, like, the solution thing? Where it's like, you have to think about what the problem is like, the people need help bringing their vision to life. Mm-hmm. They don't need the cheapest cabinets. They don't need just the standard gray and fucking white, like... They need somebody that can come in and think about the product and really put out a good product. And I remember when we walked your like ADU, one of your ADUs that one time, like you guys were putting in HVAC, and that was like a very unique thing because I was like, why would you use HVAC, and like why would you use HVAC instead of the cheap mini split? Like, and so it's like, I mean, take me through some of the thought process of kind of like how you guys care about the vision the right way.
Yeah. So honestly, like, you know, with rents getting high, with, you know, obviously the market here is just getting high in general. Like we just knowing that like we're one of the hardest markets in San Diego, we have to know like who we're tailoring to, who our target market is, and the people that, you know, want to buy these houses or want to buy these ADUs or want to live in the ADUs or, you know, want a comfortable space, you know, and like something that makes it very unique. Like what makes it unique? Because sometimes the market isn't like what it's supposed to be, or how we want it to be, right? Or how any developer wants it to be. So it honestly is just being unique, giving value to the people, making sure that they're comfortable in their space. They're getting even the maintenance or service that they want, right? That's what kind of made my business. Like I noticed that they need servicing, you know, tenants mess stuff up, you know, we know. So like you got to pick and choose, like, you know, we're not going to put hardwood floors in a rental, right? Like, cause there's no value there, right? And they don't care. They're gonna trash it, or they're
dogs,
they're whatever, right? So the dogs, the animals, whatever. But it just whatever, you know, feels the best, looks the best, and gives that, you know, like this feels like a home. Because sometimes you want to deliver a home to somebody. Sometimes someone's purchasing their first home, right? The first home ever, and we want to make sure that they're happy. Like recently, I just went to a buyer's inspection, and you know, they're telling me all their questions and they're panicking. They have a whole list, and I'm just like, wow. Like I remember back then, like I would ask these questions, but like now I know like how to navigate them or answer their questions, you know, because it's like I get it. Like I've been there, like purchasing your first home, or you know, kind of getting through that list. You know, it's all important at the end of the day. You know, you don't want to be just the other, you know, the shitty contractor, or the shit. Exactly. You know, you want, and it's just putting out value, making sure that you're putting enough value, but you still get, you know, a return on your investment, or you still get the, you know, it makes sense for the tenant to get into the property, or the purchaser. Like it's got to all make sense. It's like you said, there's so much underwriting to do. And that's what, going back to the design build thing, or the, you know, starting the permitting, it's like you have to know what that finished product is, if it makes sense, if it pencils, and if the construction is going to pencil. Like there's so many moving parts. Like you got to think 10 steps ahead before, you know, right?
What's the differences between building a rental unit or renovating a rental unit and building or renovating a forever home?
Okay, so I guess the biggest differences is rental, what rents, and then purchasing what sells, right? And so what sells in I want to say your typical, you know, Bayho or Claremont property, you know, $1 million property, what sells is the open concept, the big islands, you know, what captures the eye, the design, because we all know, like, you know, the wife is going to purchase the property, right? Like you know, you're going to go in there, babe, I want this house, you know, like this, that, you got to capture them. You have to walk in first, curb appeal. Obviously, curb appeal is very important. And when you walk in, the wow factor, you really want that wow factor. You want them to tie into it and really want to feel like this is my house. Like this is what I've been looking for, because they don't know what they want. They don't know, the client does not know what they want until they see it, right? And so that's the biggest thing there. For rental, obviously depends on where you're renting, what you're renting. For example, if you're just renting at San Diego State, they're just looking for a room, right? They're just looking for something that works, but you want to have as much space as possible, right? Because it's getting congested in that area. But in other rentals, it's more about just, you know, clean space. You're not going to spend like the money you're going to spend in a big, you know, 12-foot island in an open concept Claremont property, right? In a rental.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that makes sense. So, dude, I mean, you've done so many of these. You probably average about 300 plus a year that you've done. How do you do that? Like, how does somebody actually manage 1,500 fucking renovations?
Dude, it's crazy. So, like, obviously there's a team behind it. It's just me, or it's not just Phil. It's not, you know, there's a lot of people behind these. First things first, like, you want to have good crews, like good contractors, good subcontractors, reliable as well. Reliable because we all know time is of essence, right? And these underwriting. I think it's a mix of good people. It always comes down to good people, right? And a good team on your back. It has to be organized, because if it's not organized, shit's going to hit the fan. Something's going to stop, and then it's going to delay time, money, you know, people effort in general. And so the number one thing I would say, like, as far as a construction company, as a project manager that I've done it all, like, you have to have good people on the ground that are doing the work correctly. Because if not, when no one's looking, something can get messed up, right? Or something can be done incorrectly. And it's, at the end of the day, it's always come back to you. That's why I'm saying, like, it comes in full circle. You got to know what the end vision is. Like, you don't want to come back, oh my God, like someone's sink's leaking. They open it up and like there's like the plumbing was done incorrectly behind the wall. You know, it's like something got missed. So at the end of the day, like, boots on the ground is most important. The crews that you have, the people that are working and managing, because, you know, you have to have project coordinators, project managers. You have project coordinators running to SDE, you know, SDG&E, you know, inspections, or, you know, meeting with when I'm going to a buyer's inspection instead, you know, you got to coordinate that really well. And so you have to have good, solid boots on the ground. You have to have project coordinators that are, you know, running around helping with the, you know, tedious tasks that need to get done on a day-to-day basis, you know, checking in with you in an email, right? Or it's making sure that this checklist got checked off, you know, doing a punch list at the end. You know, there's going to be different projects in different stages, right? And then you have to have a project manager dedicated to that project from start to finish and to delivery.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, take me through, like, because when you think about an operation that big, right? Like, you have the boots on the ground, you have the people managing the boots on the ground, you have the higher level people managing all those people, you have the accounting, you have the people probably selling the properties, the people trying to find, like, I mean, we know it's a huge operation, but, like, what is your role in all of that? Like, I know you're managing the team, but, like, let's say, like, what does a day in the life look like for, like, the senior project manager of a company that does 1,500 renovations in a few years?
So let's say for a company, you know, that large, like, what it looks like the day-to-day for me, like, I can explicitly just say, like, you know, number one thing is, like, get up, you know, know exactly what you're going to do for the day. So like the day before I planned ahead, right? I always like to plan ahead and make sure that I have my ducks in a row, like what is the most important thing to get done first, right? Priority wise, right? So we have a list of what I need to get done for the week. I fill up my schedule for the entire week. I know exactly, I time block everything. It's really important for me. And so when I get up, I check, get on my computer, check my emails, follow up on text calls, send out reminders, right? Because it's all about reminding people and making sure it gets done. Because if it's on your plate and it's, you pass it on to somebody else and it's not getting done, it's, it comes back to you at the end of the day. So that's the first things first, making sure all my ducks are in a row, checking my emails, checking my texts, follow up with people, and then I'll check on my calendar what I have time blocked for the day to go check on which project has the priority, right? And then, make sure I'm also not hitting traffic, so I'm efficient, right? So once I'm done with hitting all my projects, I come back home and just make sure that every project was checked off, what I missed, what I didn't hit, and follow next day, right? So like that's why I plan ahead. You got to move things as you go, but it's just staying organized. It's very crucial because you have critical paths for construction, right? And for planning whatever it is that we're working on. And so that's, I would say, being organized so you hit your deadlines, because everyone, time is money at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. It sounds like there's a lot that's just kind of almost like prep and planning, almost more so than like doing the actual work sometimes.
Yeah.
And because it's like when you're at that level, like at that probably more leadership level, you're not the one swinging the hammer, but you're the one making sure that the person swinging the hammer has what they need, and that requires people to order things at the right time. So it's like you're making sure that everything's kind of happening, and you're almost like you're just the puppet master in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I'll switch the dial for you there. So let's say I'm in a contractor's position now, right? Like when I'm starting a project, I need to get the material list so I know when to order it, because if there's any delays, windows, I need to organize the roof, right? So I need to, like, when I'm working with the guys boots on the ground, ordering material and stuff, I need to make sure that it's ordered on time when they need it. And so we go around before, when we're walking the property, getting started, even through demo, you're counting exterior light fixtures, you're counting vanity light fixtures, you're counting toilets, you're counting windows, the sizes, you're getting the measurements. Like, you're pre-ordering that so you're ready to close the project when you're going to deliver.
Hey guys, if you're a business owner, high income earner, or investor who's been thinking about getting into real estate development but don't have the time to manage the process, this is for you. My company partners with people like you to help unlock the potential of your properties, or even source and manage new small scale development projects. We manage hundreds of ADUs and infill development projects across Southern California, and our team knows how to simplify the process so you can benefit from the upside without managing contractors, permits, or design headaches. Whether you want to develop your own property, explore ways to offset taxes, or just learn how the development model works, head to thebuildernation.com/partner. That's thebuildernation.com/partner, and see how we can help you build more with the same 24 hours. Now back to the show.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's like when you go, you kind of have at each stage, you have your own like internal checklist of things that you're doing to kind of like prep you then for the next stage of it. And so I'm assuming each project you kind of have to like take the ground floor view of it to start, and then you put it, once you get it like lined up, then you're taking the high level view, making sure it's just kind of like going along the process.
Exactly.
Is that accurate? Okay, that makes sense. What do you guys use for like managing all these projects? Do you use like ClickUp or?
So we use a bunch of different softwares, but we use Salesforce now. So we have to manage everything through Salesforce. So I actually, worked closely with GG Homes and built like my own custom project management grid.
Okay.
Like, cause I was like, none of it was efficient enough for me. We tried ClickUp, we tried Monday, but like, there's so many moving parts, like, cause they're a big, company. Like, I needed accounting to watch my budgets. I needed my time management there. I also needed to connect with our closing management department to check in on, the status of a project, that we purchased earlier, like getting disclosures, whatever it is, like, cause like sometimes you'll run into things like, hey, oh shoot, like, was the foundation messed up? Like, did we know about this? Like, did we know that, you find things after, right? You can't like, you start uncovering projects. And so we just found it more efficient to build our own project grid. So I have my own custom grid that I like have built with like every little detail that I need to track.
Dude, that's crazy. And so I didn't even realize Salesforce was like a project management thing.
We built it for that. It, probably didn't start that way, but we started it for sales, and then it got built into construction over time. Like, it made its way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So like you've had a lot of reps there now, like more reps on renovations than I've had on ADU projects. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
What's next? So you're only 20, how old are you?
27.
27.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have so much time still.
Yeah.
Like,
So
what's next?
I built this construction company, Stallion Homes Construction. So I've been doing renovations, for GG Homes. I've been doing renovations for, other clients outside. And so like my goal is just to provide a service that no one's actually giving, like.
What does that look like?
And so what does that look like? That looks like, connecting people with the right people. For example, if someone needs a, ADU, connect them with you, right? And make sure that they are using the, like getting the right feasibility for their project that they're trying to build or the vision that they're trying to build. Because sometimes clients come and they don't know what they want to build right at the end of the day. So it's like, how do we give them the product that they're looking for and make sure it gets closed, it gets delivered to how they expect it. And so finding the right designers, finding the right, people to just build the project. So I feel like the product that I'm getting, or the service that I'm giving, is going to be communication, obviously, because communication is number one, right? Making sure we're communicating about timeline, budget, things that we see things that we don't see, just giving a full service of just a clean project, a clean project where you're not having issues. You're not going to have issues 10 years down the line. I want to make sure that I'm giving people the service that they deserve.
So your focus right now, at least, is like renovation, and then the
Correct.
intention is to expand.
So right now, my focus right now is just to learn as much as, because there's always learning, right? I know, like, I've done a lot, and like I feel like I'm always learning. I'm like, that's the number one thing that helped me grow, is like, know that there's always something more to learn, right? And so like, I think what I'm trying to do is provide a full construction service of renovations or ADU builds, build ground up, and just make sure that everything is done correctly, on time, on schedule. I have people on this job site. If I don't have people, why aren't they on the job site? Providing that communication to the client so they're not just in the dark, right? That's the number one thing I'm dialing in, and I'm providing for people that I'm working with right now, just getting that set up. And then the next thing is to hire the right people to cover what I'm doing, and then learn the next thing, right? And learn the next thing is like, just like I said, is how you found it valuable, like to provide the full service. I want to be able to provide, the design, planning, permitting part as well, at the end of the day. Get there one day.
Yeah, no, I do. It's like I said, it's such a gap in the market with so many people. Like, everyone can be a developer now who's a homeowner, but they have no idea how it works.
Yeah.
And yeah, people who have the reps like this from both sides, like, you've had to underwrite, you've dealt with ADU builds before, you've built good products. Like, everyone has a piece, but it's like the people who are doing and have done the full cycle, for the next 5-10 years, those are going to be the most valuable people to work with, hands down.
And also, you want to make sure that your name is reputable. You want to make sure you're providing, what the client requested, and you have a good name for it. And as you do that, business comes, people come, and you build connections, you build networking, and it all comes, it all matters at the end of the day, So I think that I've realized too is, like, I go back and correct a lot of work that I've seen, and I'm just like, fuck, like, they should have just done it right. So the client's spending twice the money now, or people live in the house now, and you're dealing with, scheduling, and you know how that goes, dude. It's like it's not easy.
How do you manage so many people without micromanaging?
There's a little bit of both. It's really hard, dude. It's really hard. I feel like you have to micromanage. Like, some people you don't have to, right? But there's a balance to it. You don't want to overdo it, but there's a point where you overdo it. And you're like, okay, how much time am I actually wasting managing this guy if he's not going to pull up for me or do the job how I asked? You just got to swap them out. That's why it's important to network, find new vendors, because some people get comfortable. Electricians, stucco finishers or concrete finishers, whatever it is, people get comfortable. So you got to make sure you got someone in your back pocket too, because it's like, that's like, if you're just relying on one person, you're putting your eggs all in one basket, right? And it goes for deals, it goes for construction, it goes for everything.
So when do you know when it's time when do you know contractor?
Dude, it's like I know there's like the saying of like the 3 strikes, 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes you're out. But I would probably say I follow that guideline. It depends what kind of, relationship I have with them as well. But once you hit like 3 strikes, or you've done something, that's like not forgivable. I mean, you always forgive people at the end of the day, but like something that you don't want to deal with in the future. Like, if you have an electrician that had to just messed up your whole electrical, you have a whole power outage. It's like, that's like enough. Like, I'm not using you again, bro. It's it really depends on the situation. It's a per situation basis, but it's like the experience builds on that. It's the experience that I've had that I'm just like, okay, I got to cut that, and let's go to the next.
Yep.
And it's like, I would say, like, rule of thumb, just follow the 3 strikes. 1 strike, 2 strikes, okay, 3 strikes are out. But it's like, if there's like a big fuck up and they don't know how to, like, it's like, all right, like, let's fix this, let's swap it out, have a good day, let's go on to the next.
I feel like it's definitely something where there's mistakes that get made because of incompetence. Like they just literally don't know
Yes.
yet. Or naivety,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They don't know. And then there's mistakes that get made because of poor moral or ethical standpoints. And I feel like those probably have different weights to them in terms of mistakes.
They do.
And then there's like morality, and then there's intensity of the mistake.
Yeah.
I would imagine you kind of have to be able, based on experience, probably just get better and better at being able to judge each of those and create, based on where I fired people before, that's that you can make those decisions quick.
No, so what I'll add to that, it's like it's hiring the right foreman, because I have a foreman that vets people for me. Like it's hard to find good people. And so I have one foreman that he's like trying new people, and I work with him, he works with me. Like you have to build that relationship, because I don't have time to go sit on these projects all day, every day, 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day, whatever it is. And so he helps me. He's like extra eyes, like, and so like even I have to correct the foreman sometimes, or like they'll correct me, like, whatever it is. But it's like the idea of having the flexibility to bounce ideas with each other. You don't want hard heads with you, because if you just have people, it's my way or the highway. It's like, I don't want to work with people that way. So it's like you have to have people that are willing to work with you, willing to mesh. And same thing with hiring project coordinators, project managers, And so like hiring those type of people, like it takes a skill, it takes a skill, but it's also with experience, but it's also just like, you just got to dive in and do it. Just do it. Just take the risk and do it.
Yeah. Well, I imagine too, like being a little bit younger, you're working with some of these foremen that are probably very experienced, we'll say.
Yeah.
It's probably very hard when it's like you need to hold them accountable, or they're not as fast as you needed them to be, and having those conversations. Like what's that like?
Yeah, dude, it's really scenario on scenario. But it's actually funny you say that, because I butt heads with a guy recently. That's why I brought it up, the concrete stuff. So I told you I worked in concrete.
Yep.
I did that for 2 years with my uncle before I even got into construction. I was demoing driveways, doing sidewalks and everything. And so I recently had a job that I worked on for a client where I had to pour a sidewalk on an alley area for just for a walkway. And they were getting ready to prep. They were getting ready to pour, like, hey, Carlos, we're getting ready to pour at 7 a.m. I'm like jumping project to project. I'm like running, I don't have time to go over there. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make the time. I want to make sure this client's happy. So I go over there. I'm like, where the fuck is the gravel? Like, where are you guys tying in? Where are you guys tying into? Like, where's the rebar? Did you guys dowel in? Like, I'm looking at the property, inspecting. I'm calling the guy that I hired, I'm like, yo, like, the guys aren't ready for pour tomorrow. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, where's the gravel? Like, did you guys compact? Like, he's like, oh yeah. It's like, what are you talking about, Carlos? I was like, your guys compacted the dirt. They did not compact the gravel. They did not lay the road base. They're not even doweled in or tied in yet. Like, what are we going to do here? He's like, oh, okay, like, we'll get ready. And like one of the guys heard me on the job site. He heard me talking to his boss, and he comes over. He's like, what's the issue? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, we're canceling pour. We're not going to pour this. We have to compact this. We have to put gravel and everything. I want this job done right. This is not coming back to me. He's like, you don't need to do that. This is not foundational. This is not a driveway where there's going to be heavy weight. It's just a walkway. He'll be fine. I was like, fuck no, it's not. We're going to do this right. And I look over, and he's like, do you think, and I was like, I told him, I was like, I've poured concrete before, dude. You can't just, you can't walk circles around me. He's like, he just chuckled to himself. He's like, you guys think Carlos has done this before? And he just looked at me. I was like, all right, bro. I called him, and I was like, bro, I'm not dealing with this. You deal with your guy, or I'm taking him off right now. Let me know. You have to deal with it. You're going to deal with confrontation. You're going to deal with negotiations, but you can't be shut off by it. You have to be able to put up a front. You have to be confrontational in moments. And like, even if you're wrong, if I'm wrong, like, I'll admit to it. Like, you have to work your way around each scenario.
Yeah. No, that's wild. It makes so much sense, and especially when it's funny that he didn't know that was like your background.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
dude. I was just like, come on.
And yeah, I think that there's a level of being confident, but also being willing to change your opinion based on what you find out, right?
Yeah.
It's not just always jumping to conclusions. It's not just always, saying like, no, I'm right.
Yeah.
It's saying, this, to my knowledge, is the best way. And until you can convince me otherwise, this is the answer. And yeah, I think that's a good story, man.
And so like, I think that I knew that I was going to be successful when I woke up at 5:30 in the morning, and I was just like, I'm going to the fucking gym. I'm going to go show up for myself. I'm going to be this, even when I didn't want to, go to the gym and then get ready, have a good breakfast, feed myself, and then just get right to work and stay organized. And I knew that, and I saw that when I would see you at the gym at 5:30 in the morning. I'd see you too, and I'm like, dude, Like, we're gonna make it one day. You know, like I remember I was talking to you like 2 years ago, like, dude, I want to build my construction business, and you're like, dude, I'm gonna go build my Builder Nation. Like, I'm gonna go talk to people. I was like, dude, let's fucking do it. Like, let's go record together. Remember when we recorded our first video?
We're like, we don't know how to use the mics.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, dude, I'm just like, it's good, dude. Like, you just have to have discipline. Like, just focus and know what your destiny is, where you want to go, Like, what's the goal? You know, at the end of the day, baby steps. There's gonna be milestones. There's gonna be hiccups. Like, there's gonna be failures, and that's okay. And you learn by failing, and that's what taught me a lot. Like, just working, going to work, and then correcting people's work. And I wasn't correcting it just because I knew. I was correcting it because there's actually issues, and I didn't know there was an issue. You know, like, for example, why is the flooring buckling on this property? And I didn't know why, but it's like there's an expansion joint that goes around all the the perimeter of the flooring and things like that. You know, you just learn as you go, and it's just like, it's gonna cost. You know, it's gonna cost somebody. It's gonna cost your time, or cost. You know, we got to move the people out, or whoever sold the property, or whoever built it, right? The renters. So, yeah, dude, it's just, you learn by mistakes. You know.
Yeah, I want to touch on that a little bit. Like, obviously, like, you know, I think we might have met at the gym, actually.
I think we did, yeah.
Which is funny because we're both in real estate. We
Yeah,
both met at other meetups and stuff too. But
Yeah.
that's, I think, a really important point is like the consistency of your day. Like you were mentioning before, you constantly will. The things are like kind of the non-negotiable like consistencies is like you check your emails, you respond to texts, you do all you make sure everything's going, you get the gym in. Like, it's kind of these daily things where like nothing you're doing is fucking special. Not one thing is not, but it's like when you do each of those little things in an order every single day for 2, 3, 4 years at a time, that's very unique. Most people don't realize like how important that is and how valuable that is. And I think the company you worked at, workout, like, I think they see that. And that's why you've moved up so quickly, because it's extremely valuable.
Well, you get those mental reps in, you know, you don't see it, but you're mentally getting those mental reps in. Even the silliest things, dude, like, I cannot leave my house unless I make my bed in the morning and I clean my area space. I clean my room before I even start work. Like, I have to have the space clean. If I'm in an office, I clean the office, make sure I'm in my office space clean, organized, got my list ready to go. Like, it's just their mental things, mental reps that I'm getting in to stay organized, and it just follows through everything. It goes to work life, everything, you know.
Yeah What are some of the other areas of your life that you're kind of focusing on and improving outside of just becoming a fucking killer project manager and business owner?
This is a bigger thing for me, and it's just because I grew up Catholic, you know, but I wasn't so in touch with it. I didn't really know what I was following, but I'm building upon that, because at the end of the day, like, I am religious. I feel like I wouldn't be here without God, you know, or with, you know, just following my steps, following Jesus, you know. And so, like, praying, and so I've been getting back into like getting the Bible. And so I don't know if I told you this, but I got really sick when about a year and a half ago.
I remember you telling
me. I got
about
sick,
it.
And I went through some hard stuff when I got sick. Like, doctors didn't know what was wrong with me. I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me, what I was feeling. I was just having issues with my body, and I was almost at a point where I actually almost, you know, died. It was pretty crazy. And so, like, I just knew that if I would stay persistent and, you know, I prayed that every day that I was going to be okay, and God was with me, like, everything was going to be okay. And, you know, I'm still here today, thank God, you know. So, like, I think another part that I'm working on right now is just like being more in touch with my religion and kind of actually understanding what it actually means to believe in what I believe, and just understand, you know, read the Bible more and just understand what the stories are about and how I can implement them. For example, like, I just read the story about David and Goliath, and like how David stood up to Goliath and how he was very confident, and how I can bring that into my life, you know, how I can be confident even when I'm not, you know, like, physically, you know, Goliath was a lot bigger than David. And so that was another thing where I was just like, how can I just read these and implement them in my life, and then just be thankful, you know, that I'm here today. So I'm always thankful, you know, for everything. Everything happens for a reason, and that's another big thing in my life that I'm working on.
I'm glad you're here for I'm glad you're here for it. So what like some of, like, I guess the tangible things, like what kind of things are you like implementing in your day-to-day life now, since then, that, you know, other people could maybe take away from it?
Give me an example. I don't know what you mean by,
like, what, you know, the story of David and Goliath, right? Like, being the bigger person, and just like what are some examples of ways that, like, over the past year and a half you've been able to kind of leverage that in your life to kind of be a better person?
So I want to say that the biggest three is always be honest. You want to be honest with yourself. You want to be honest with people around you. 2 is be confident in everything that you do. I just feel like if you're confident in what you do and how you are, how the way you carry yourself will take you a long way in business and your personal life and your dating life and just everything in general. And I would say those are the two big pillars. And I would probably say just being disciplined, being a hard worker, and making sure that you hold yourself accountable. Because if you don't hold yourself accountable, there's no one else here for you. You're setting yourself up for your future, your kids, your family, and trying to reach your goal. And so I would say being honest, being confident, being disciplined are my top three.
That makes a lot of sense, man. That's great, man. So if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for people to get in contact?
You can DM me on my Crafted with Carlos account. I don't know if you want to put up my work number too. I have a work cell I can provide on the screen too. You can put that on there. But if you guys want to contact me for any construction questions, or if you guys want me to build a proposal, do any kind of work, let me know. I'm available, and we'll do it right.
I love it. So one final question for you. What do you want people to take away from your journey so far? Because you're extremely successful for 27 years old.
Number one thing?
Yeah, what's the number one thing you want people to take away from your journey so far?
I want to say that it doesn't matter as big as your wildest dreams, big for yourself, think big for what you want in your life, and chase that dream. Just chase it. If anyone can accomplish anything and you think that I think about it this way. All these contractors were getting their contractor's license, and I was just I thought I was incapable of it just because I was younger, but I aced through my exams and I was just learning, being a sponge. I want to say the number one takeaway is just chase your dreams and make sure that that one dream that you know exactly what it is, figure out exactly what it is, and just go for it. Doesn't matter how long it takes. If let's say, I'll give you an example. If you want to be a bartender, what do you got to do? Start at the bottom, be a busboy, and just stick with it. Right? It's as little as it is, as big as the doesn't matter how big or how small the dream is. Just make sure you stick with it and you finish it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for jumping on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it for this episode of the Build a Nation podcast. If it gave you something to think about, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's leveling up. Until next time, keep building.